Hello, this is Welcome to Cyber Chef Sunny Cooking with Gratitude and Awareness, CWGA program. In the next 45 minutes, you will be inspired and empowered by the stories of our guests bring in to share with us. And we would like to use the fourth season to reflect their up and down in life as a season. And we will love to connect with them and learn from the wisdom they've been through. So that is the program for that. Like winter, we stand for testing moments. We don't know what exactly going on. We are in the darkness, but we going through and learn a new thing. And spring, it's the time we start to have a great idea and opportunity and this awakening time for our journey. Then the summer, of course, we already know what we want, so we are driving for our results and do a lot of accomplishments. And fall is the season for sharing and harvest our results and celebrate and with the good feeling that is our season going through. And I was going to use the next 15 minutes after the interview to cook a recipe the guests bring in to share. And today I'm so excited to have Dr. V, let me repeat her name, Dr. Villa Van Trichett. If I say closely, pardon me if I say not closely, but I would love to have Dr. V to be here. And Dr. V is the founder of the Burnout Resuscitation Program that is actually help a lot of people to regain the balance and the love for their excitement journey. And welcome to the show, Dr. V.
I'm so grateful to be talking to you because I'm also fascinated by your story, but that is for another time.
Sure, yeah, but I think we connect for a reason. Like
Yes.
among billion people on the internet, which is, I think that's the purpose. We really need to share each other's story and cheer you up because we are in the certain journey to help others.
Absolutely.
And for people who do not know Dr. V, let me quickly share with you about her amazing accomplishments. Dr. V is definitely a high achiever. Many things on her list, accomplished list, perhaps just my daydreaming list. There's no way I can achieve that many things. To name a few, Dr. V is an eye surgeon and public health officer and a valuable worker for international organizations, a Reiki master and a certified angel healer and a public speaker. And she has several award-winning books, including Success Starts Today, that has won her the recipient for 2019 Quilly's Award. That is highly honored as the author. And she's also an intuitive life coach and a journey participant, practitioner. And that's all the things. She's around the world. She's science, she's spiritual, she's caring, she's healing others. So let's start to have a great interaction and question, and we can learn more about Dr. V. Are you ready, Dr. V?
Ready. I was born ready.
All right. So I know I mentioned you have so many transitions in career, in the passions. On those transitions, do you have one particular moment you need to go through a lot the struggle or searching and make sure those testing moments don't stop you? Would you might share some of the moments?
Yes, the moment I choose, which was one of the most hardest parts in my life, when was I lost almost everything due to burnout. And I was at the top of my career as one of the only vitreoretinal surgeons in my native country, which is Belgium. And I was just had reached the peak. I was like doing really good professional work, being respected, making a lot of money, living a beautiful life with my husband and my firstborn baby, when I really crashed from burnout. And I finally ended up losing my job, my career, any income, my house. We left the country. So it was a complete crash for me in all aspects of my life. The only thing that luckily stayed with me was my husband and my child. And then I went on to this healing journey because I had seen, before this happened, I saw at least 8 allopathic doctors and a psychologist who told me you need to leave the situation you're in or it's going to kill you. And that's what finally pushed me to give up after a year of struggling and trying to maintain what I had. So none of these allopathic doctors knew what was wrong with me, actually. And I also saw some functional doctors that pointed in the direction of adrenal fatigue, but it wasn't really that. But it's very similar, actually. So yeah, then I just went on a 6 months off, connecting with my baby. I hadn't had time to connect with my baby for the first year because I was working. And so I found Reiki, I found functional medicine, I found oxygen therapy, I found all of these things that as a medical doctor, we don't learn about it. We don't learn about food in any case. So I was just grasping at straws, and anything that would possibly help me lead any useful life, because I was so exhausted. I could not get out of bed. I could hardly take care of my baby. I could not take care of my house. I could hardly walk around the block. So I had absolutely zero energy, and it was miserable because I've always been a high achiever. I've even been a really good sports person until that time. And I couldn't do all the things I loved anymore. And that gave me, my ego, a feeling of importance. So at that stage, I had like really the dark night of the soul, because I thought, if I cannot perform anymore and I cannot be a successful doctor, I can hardly be a good wife or a good mom, who am I? Do I even deserve to live? And so my whole identity got really beaten up in that moment.
Mhm.
And one of the, well, all of these things came together. One of the things that really pulled me out was a friend of mine took me to see a reverend, and he said to me, no matter what situation you're in now, you deserve to live and you are loved. And that just like pulled me out of the hole a little bit. And then I started accepting help from all of these different healers. And slowly I climbed back out, and I was like, it was like a rebirth, actually, because I had to like throw away all of the old beliefs of
Yeah.
performing, trying to be perfect, trying to be superwoman. All of that had to go out of the window. And I just had to like become a completely different person, where I realized that my life is precious, and everybody's life is precious, and everybody plays a role. And so, yeah, it was a complete turnaround. And since then, I have learned so many different healing modalities that I think I've got the full package between medicine, spirituality, coaching, and then the journey really does the emotional healing and the spiritual healing. And now I feel like I have the whole package. So I call myself a holistic life coach. Even though most coaches think they are holistic, I find that other coaches maybe work on the mental aspect a lot, but they don't have all of the other aspects.
Yeah.
But in any case, I'm not saying that I am better than anybody else, but that's my journey.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I can totally relate because, our life is not that simple, but can be simple if we want to live the simple way.
Yeah.
But I think, today's world is kind of difficult. You got a lot of distractions. Then we have different standards. Sometimes the success standard not necessarily relate to our success, but we try to fit in, right?
Mm.
And we do what we can, but we sometimes still have this emptiness, like we don't really connect with things, and that is become a problem. But somebody like we have the moments to get us to cook that discomfort. We know we're losing, we're not connecting. Then
Mm.
that moment actually become a opportunity to get us
Yeah.
out. And so we be, hey, if I couldn't do this, must have a reason I can't. But it's not because I'm not good enough. It's like I'm not in the right track. I'm not
Yeah.
aligned, right, with what we supposed to do. But
Yes.
the awakening, the mindset shift is very critical. So
Mm.
definitely you are such a great life coach because you've been through it. You
Absolutely.
have the struggle, then
Yeah.
you will kind of help them as the guidance, not just pour
Yeah.
them in, sort them in the other way. Because you know this process is take a lot of support and care
Yeah.
in order to be successful. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you go through your journey successfully and have a new passion other than just help patients, but
Mm.
you actually help them the whole package, which is their
Yeah.
mindset, spiritual, and the health
Yeah.
perspective. I mean, this is great. And
Yes.
I know you have been travel all different countries and stuff. I'm just curious because for me, I'm travel from my east. I live in growing up from Taiwan, then come to the United States to get my study done. In the first few years, I'm pretty confused. I would
Mm.
say, but it's not that confused because I'm working on the campus. I'm living totally isolated from the society
Yeah.
in that 3 months, 3 years time when I get my degree. But I was wondering when you move your practices or do some work on different countries, do you personally feel those barrier, cultural and language barrier, actually is something you really appreciate now?
Well, one thing that I've learned is that whenever I move to another country, I realize I'm a guest in that country and I cannot expect anybody else to change their culture or habits because I'm there. So I just like in the beginning, when I settle in a new place, I just observe like what are the routines, how do people behave, how do they speak, because it's different in every place. And
Yeah.
there's no good or bad. It's just they have different habits because it's a different culture. And I just try and first observe how they do things, and then I just adapt. But for instance, I went to work in Paris for 1 year, and my French was really bad. And this was 25 years ago, and the French refused to speak English to me. And English is not
Wow.
even my mother tongue, but in any case. So I struggled for 3 months understanding, and I worked there. I couldn't understand what people are saying. There was no Google Maps, so I often got lost in Paris, and I couldn't ask anybody because they wouldn't speak English to me. So I had this map, and then I ended up crying in the middle of the street, lost. And then some English professor took me in for a while, gave me a cup of tea, and then sent me back in the right direction. After 3 months of just listening and observing, I suddenly clicked, and I thought, like, I woke up one morning and I had dreamt in French. And I
Wow.
thought that was the moment that my brain turned the button, my language button was like click. And that day I went to work and I understood everybody. And they had
That
been
is
talking
amazing.
behind my back until then, because I know they said like, oh yeah. And that day they said, we need to watch out. I think she's starting to understand what we're saying. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they shifted to Yiddish, which I don't understand. So
Yeah.
in any case, that was
I
my
think that you
language
you kind
experience.
of just like totally fully immerse, right? You just immerse yourself and then you observe, because I think that's actually very, very key elements for people to have a very peaceful life. Like we should be an observer or witness,
Mm,
because we are involved with things too much. We sometimes just looking for something we don't have or something we have, then we lost the moment, the present moment. But if you are like, I try to practice that too. We just observe.
mm,
We are seeing what's the emotion going through, right? What the language, what things going on, but we without judgment. That
yeah,
is actually the right moment for to really live in the present. And I
yeah.
think for you, your reward is like the click. You can speak the language, you understand them because you are very intuitive, right? You kind of
Yes.
know you don't need a language as a
Mm,
tool. As
yes.
the tool get in, well, of course, getting
And
better,
to
but then the
express.
relation, your connection with people is already there.
Yes, you're so right. I mean, intuitively, I might have felt like that they were talking about me, but I need the language to talk to them because they're not that intuitive that I can just
Sure,
send my emotions and wishes out to them. Not everybody, would understand. So I need the language to communicate
sure.
what I
Mhm.
want or what my questions are or to
Yeah,
understand their answers. So in any case, yeah, that's my language experience. I have another language experience in South Africa, but was not so difficult. It also took me about 3 months. I had to learn to speak Afrikaans, but it's
Mhm.
pretty close to my mother tongue, Dutch. So I could understand earlier, and then I had to have the confidence after a while to try and speak it, and it happened. So I think a good example, because you asked about the cultural differences I had in South Africa, actually, because even the first day that I arrived there, I was a young doctor specializing to become an eye surgeon. And all my colleagues were male on their first day. And they kind of said, like, we're going for lunch. And I said, oh, can you show me where the lunch place is? And they were playing table tennis after they had something to eat. And I happened to be really good at table tennis. So I made the mistake of beating them. And they hated me, absolutely.
Oh, you just to be you.
Well, yeah, I didn't know then that in their culture, and this is 20,
Oh,
25 years ago,
wow.
it might have
Okay.
changed
Mhm.
now, that they really the males felt very threatened by females and they wanted to stay on top. And
Sure.
sometimes we overheard conversations like, oh, don't share that information with the girls because we don't want them to be more clever than us. So they held back information at work and
Oh
from the
my.
training.
Mhm.
So that was a cultural shock to me, because even though I grew up with two brothers, I always tried to do my best. And if I was good at something, I could show it. I didn't have to
Yeah.
act that I was just like a wallflower and stupid. And you know, that whole attitude, like you have to look like you're just like sweet, stupid thing. I never did that. So in that culture, I was kind of like, I don't know, a Land Rover going through. What is this? They were not used to a female colleague that kind of was confident, I guess, or wanted to
Mhm.
be part of. I mean, I just thought like we're all equals. So I never showed up as I think I'm worth less than you, or have to be more quiet than
Yeah.
you. So I
Yeah.
didn't get that. It was a big culture shock for me and for them.
Yeah.
So what set me free in that environment was that after a year, one of the guys came to me and he said, listen, we can see you trying to be our friend, but we don't want to be your friend.
Wow.
And
He's very honest.
yes, and even though initially there was a shock, like the first 30 minutes, it really set me free, because I thought, fine, I've been trying to be nice to everybody. They don't want me to be nice to them because they don't appreciate it. So I suddenly felt like, hey, I can be myself now. And like I just completely gave up on people pleasing and getting along. And just like, I'm here to learn these things. I'm here to get good at these things. I'm going to get what I'm here for. And it really set me free. It's actually the whole people
Exactly.
pleasing thing is so draining. So yeah, that's some of my experience that I had from different cultures and different languages.
Yeah, I can see that too. Like I were growing up in Taiwan, it's more like traditional Chinese way to raise both boy and girl at different expectations. But
Mm,
luckily, I don't have a lot from my parents, so I have more the freedom to explore what to be really me. But I
yeah,
have a lot of girlfriends. They really restrict by certain way.
yeah.
And one of the way I'm still like don't understand, like even they don't feel happy in their marriage. They couldn't tell, even they divorced, they couldn't tell their parent they divorced. They still try to fake it they are still a couple. It's like, wow, this is like really tough. I don't think that can be really applied for any other culture. But you know, there's just they want harmony. They don't want anybody to have
Mm,
problems. They don't want to lose the
yeah,
face.
yeah.
But I don't think I can really totally live with because other people's standards, then I
Mm,
have to totally become somebody I'm not.
yeah,
That's a very stressful situation. I think in today's world, we can get to that later. It's really just like we live up to the expectation too much, then we lose ourselves. Then that
absolutely.
conflict becomes the stress constantly in our
Yes,
life. That
yes,
becomes
yes.
dangerous if we don't take care of it.
Mm, mm.
Right. Let's the
Absolutely.
next one. I think would be because I think you mentioned that already about your transitions and tough and journey to burnout to be today's lovable life coach. What are the three major things on this shift, if you can relate, like what the major differences get you to be open your eyes again?
Yes, and this is something that could be useful for everybody because it was big aha moments for me. First of all, what I realized is you have to listen to the messages from your body. Because I was taught as a child that if I was ill or I was in pain, I should just ignore it and just like, don't be a wuss.
Crying
Yeah,
babies and stuff.
yeah, don't be crybaby. Yes, your knee is bleeding and open, but come on, you can't get attention for that, you know. And also, like if I was sick and had fever and stuff, my mom kept on sending me back to school, and then the school sent me back because my fever was too high, and then she sent me back to school, and then I was constantly. My environment told me to ignore physical signs and symptoms.
Mm.
That's just my experience. So that is like a perfect setup to develop burnout, because that means that you keep on going, despite of your body saying, I'm exhausted, I need sleep, I can't do it anymore. And I just kept on going, because that was, I was taught that. So yeah, I learned that lesson now. If my body's tired, I say, it's fine, you can sleep in, it's okay. Uh, or you can go to bed early if you really need to, that's fun. Or if you have pain and you just like do something about, I mean, I listen and I treat it early, the signs and symptoms. And I also realize, like, if you have certain, because that's what you learn in the journey is to, and also intuitively, why do I have this pain? The pain often tells you, whoa, this situation in your life is not good for you, you need to do something about it. So
Sure.
that's what I do with my clients also, to really go into the body and ask the questions like, why do I feel this way? Why is my shoulder sore? Who's a pain in my neck? You know, things like that. Who's sitting on my shoulders because you're carrying too much responsibilities. So, and I love doing that because then they know how to really change their life and upgrade their life. And then the pain most likely will go away. I mean, there's different factors to pain, but this is one of the principles that I can work with. And the second the aha moment that I had is that you don't have to be perfect at everything, no matter how well you perform in any aspect of life. You are enough. That is the mantra that is so important to hear. Everybody should hear that. You are enough the way you are. And if you soulfully and truthfully want to improve something in your life, do it because it's you choose it and you do it for yourself. Then it won't cause any stress in your life. But
Yeah,
if you just
align
do
with what
it,
you want, right? Mhm.
yeah, because if you just do it because your parents want you to become a doctor, or because your society wants you to be quiet because you're a woman or whatever, that will cause stress and distress in your body, because it's not what your soul wants. It's not why you were born, right? So that is a big conflict. And I love setting people free. I love empowering people and opening their eyes that they're saying, oh my God, I don't want this really, but I'm doing this because it was expected of me. And then once they realize that and they're strong enough to shake it off and cut the cords and unshackle themselves, and they can truly be themselves, and that is true freedom. So
Yeah.
the third aha moment I want to share is our time and energy is precious and limited. And so you have to be very selective with who you spend time with or what you put your energy and time into. Sometimes it's easy if you're a people pleaser to just do things for other people the whole time, but you don't have time for yourself or to recharge, while you should really prioritize time for yourself so you can fill up your petrol tank rather than running on empty because you're helping
Yes.
everybody else or doing things that are really not essential. So yeah, you have to be more selective in what you spend your time and energy on. That's my third tip.
Wow, that
Was
is the very, very good tips. Like
Mm,
it's just like everybody should just, I think this like people say that's common sense, but common sense is not common sense anymore.
no.
A lot of people don't even think about that until someone remind them, right?
Yes.
Listen to your body and make sure you don't drain your energy and by doing something not supposed to do. And
Mhm.
also you need to really get yourself encouragement,
Yes.
just like, hey, you did a good thing, don't compare other people, everybody a different timetable. You
Yeah.
just do what you can and do what you choose to do and feel happy
Mhm.
about it. I think that is so essential
Yeah.
for a happy life. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing all those 3 big tips.
You're welcome.
You mentioned about your help your clients through this burnout resuscitation program. I'm just kind of curious about, like you mentioned something too, like when a client come in with physical discomfort, you will actually redirect them to go deeper and find the really root cause. And I was thinking about your background. You are from the Western medical practice, but you personal journey actually let you expose to different cultural approach.
Mm.
Myself is similar too. I'm not into the health. I'm the scientist background, but because my personal journey and my stress and life changes, even I start to go in psychology, some kind of
Mhm.
practice, and I actually discover everything they do is totally, I won't say all 100% Chinese culture, but because I have that ingrained, I grew up in the
Yes.
society that long, I don't even know that's my culture. And
Mm.
then come out, right? So I really thought, wow. So actually, I have this unique opportunity to put the West and the East together. And for
Yeah.
you, I think you have a similar journey. Would you mind
Yeah.
sharing us about your unique program and how you're going to combine the best of East and West together to help
Yes.
clients?
I love Asian medicine because I have like an Asian acupuncturist or something in my life because I love their help of getting my energies balanced, and I mean I know it works. I've experienced it, so that's not my expertise. I never trained in acupuncture, but I would recommend it to some people. So what I can do, so as a medical doctor, I do understand if people already have had physical expressions of their pain and emotional imbalance, because I think a lot of things come from trauma, or emotional issues, or not being aligned with your soul path and messages and things like that. So I understand if somebody said they already have adrenal fatigue or they've already been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but a lot of doctors, if they're lucky, they got the right diagnosis and they might give them some food. I also advise on how to boost your energy by food, better sleep, other therapies that you can do just to boost your energy. I also teach people how to manage their time better and energy, as I said, by prioritizing their self-care and depending how much they want to perform in life. I have a very good training on that in the program. Then I also teach people to rekindle the relationship with their support system, because often people who've had burnout, not only can't they get out of bed and they underperform at work, they also become very irritable. And a lot of them come to me after they're divorced, which is very sad because I think I could have helped them boost their energy and get their life on track so that they wouldn't chase their partner away. But often it's already too late when I see them. So I also help people who've gone through divorce to get their life back on track. It's called the Total Reset Program.
Yeah.
Then I also help people find their life purpose. And then I do the whole life balance thing to make them realize that life is not just about work. It's not just about money. There's these other aspects in your life need to be there. Otherwise, you just like, you know, go off the curb. And so a lot of people, you say it's common sense. Actually, that's what my clients say when they go through my online program. They kind of say like, I knew this, but I never done it. But when you told me, reminded me, then yeah, now they go from being very down to leading a full life. They go from lying awake at night to having good sleep. So they can say it's all common sense, but if I wouldn't have reminded them, they would still be stuck in that dark hole.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and this,
yeah,
the sixth
exactly.
aspect that I help people with, if they want, is spirituality. But I have to go really careful there because obviously some people are very happy with the religion they have. So I don't want to interfere with that. Whatever works for you is great. But some people feel a bit lost because they don't have religion or the support like that. And they want to learn how to, because that's a factor in people, like especially in the West, where a lot of people don't, or they are not religious. I think that's why they're not happy, because it's an essential part of being a full human being, I think. I mean, you don't have to have a religion, but some form of spirituality at least,
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
realize that the world doesn't turn around you, but but you're
Yeah.
part of the bigger picture, and also that you're never alone, and there's lots of energies out there that you can, you know, ask for and bring
Sure.
into your life. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly. I recently just follow a lot of scientists talk about our brain developments. They have a stage before 9 years old. You got three major stage, right? When the first year is like survival, so you only just know what to get people's attention. But then
yeah,
you finally realize you are different than other thing. You have this
yeah.
individuality.
Mm,
Realize you are individual, then you start to have this terrible two and horrible three because you are the universe, right? If I don't happy, nobody happy. But then you finally go out to a little bit where, okay, so I have some boundary, I need to behave and something. So after 9 years old, you're learning how to align to the world is there. Your concrete brain power is there, but a lot of people stop growing at that point. That's horrible because you learn the knowledge, but you don't develop your ability to connect with other
yeah,
people or the
yeah,
universe. But somebody continue to challenge the brain, and they can finally get to the awakening stage. So that is just a lot of things we don't even know. We just kind of taking in. So if we supply the kid, they are like developing with the wrong message, that is very become really profound impact for their life. We don't even know it, but now the science study and we don't know that. But the interesting for me is like in the ancient time, nobody
hmm
read the psychology, nobody do those, but they kind of gonna be kind of more balanced. Let us to the parents have go through all this learning, and you had to learn math and you had to learn this, and you force them to have a very concrete learning structure, and that become a limitation for a lot of people right now. That's why I see.
yes,
But I believe in the long run we might go back to 2000, 3000 years ago, how our ancestors treat their
yeah,
body, their mind, and they become more balanced mind people. And I
yes, and
think
they were
that
also
actually is one of
they
my
were
goals.
also closer to nature and the rhythms of nature, and more connected with earth.
Yes.
That we've my generation lost that, and I'm a bit worried about my kids' generation, because I think they live in a dreamland, looking at the iPads the whole time. I think they're not present at all most of the time. Even in my son's school, they are allowed to wear an earpiece, so they're listening to music or whatever while they should be listening to their teacher. I don't understand.
Yeah, I joke with my son. So he's 25 this year. I say, well, when you have your kids come to my house, no electrical device at all. The phone need to be shut down. They can allow to connect with phone for 2 hours a day. And he just looked at me and said, I don't think they're coming to your house. I said, fine. If they want to know who I am, they want to know their grandma, they better just follow my rule. Because I think really they need to get away from the thing because they don't really aware they are. Like they go back to this mindset. I'm just all closed. I have my phone, the word, the knowledge is all from there, right? But then how about the tree? How about
Yeah,
things? The season changes. Nobody even pay attention anymore. That is going to be scary. We all
yeah.
become more like a phone other than a human being. So
Exactly. Yeah, I made a joke recently. I think like the generation after them might just have like a big head, small legs, and big thumbs.
there'll be an alien looking right after revolution. Yeah, it might be happening.
The one with the biggest, the strongest thumb wins, or the fastest thumb wins. Yeah.
Yeah, and the eyes can be really catching something very
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
But I think that is just so fun. But I think this is society. We coming as a kind of emerging because we live in different way when we growing up. Then we observe
Mhm.
what they are doing now.
Yeah.
Not necessarily ours better than theirs, but I think ours is more of the freedom for us to explore. But now I can see most are kind of just follow, click here, click that, follow 1, 2, 3. So you become very rigid about this. So once you don't have the instruction for you, then it becomes very difficult to cope. things not coming to the way you expect. There's no step
Mm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It could like this step, like jumping around all the time. And I think that become more crucial for you and me as a kind of a life coaches to realize their struggles. Because their
Yes.
struggle is real. It's not
Yeah.
because they are not good enough. It's they
No.
don't really have a skills to
Mm.
really cope with those things. And
Mm.
I just kind of think about for your practice, you also talk about your other than the life coach, you are the journey practitioner. And
Practitioner.
I really I wonder about what is that. It's not the tourist guide, right?
No, no. The book, The Journey, was written by a lady called Brandon Bass, 19 or nine, but no, more than 20 years ago, because I think I first read it in the late last century.
Hmm.
And it was amazing. She's a lady who kind of healed herself from cancer, and it's about how your mind, emotions, and spirituality can change your cells. So it's like
Mhm.
cellular change because your cells live in this environment. So what you put food wise in is important, radiation is important, but also your mind is important. The way your if you have loving energy is better for your cells and your health than when you have like a hate energy, for instance. I mean, they've done these studies where one plant gets love and one plant gets hate, and the plant that gets hate dies and the other one grows. So if it works for plants, it definitely works for us too. So so I trained to become a journey practitioner. I qualified quite recently because I had to do a lot of case studies first.
Uh-huh.
But I love the work. I've been doing it for several years, and it's the most powerful thing I've ever discovered, because I work with energy. Well, I'm also a Reiki master, so I've always worked with energy and the mental thing I've learned from life coaching. And then I had to spiritually, I bring my angels in there also when I work with somebody. And but they put everything together, and then it's like deep emotional healing. That's for me my favorite. You can do it for physical things, you can do it for relationships, you can do it for abundance, you can do it for all kinds of things. But I find it's like the full package. Like with all my knowledge now, this was the last missing piece. And yeah, I do feel like I'm not I can like tackle any condition now in everybody. Um, but I'm really on a mission to save 1 million lives from burnout.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is so common. And just like you said, if we used to be suppressed that physical sign, we say, oh, maybe just sleep over and tomorrow will be okay. But the
Mm,
thing is always there. We just ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. And I think also people consider to complain this kind of weakness, or you don't want your people compete with you to know you are behind. So you don't want to show that, but at the same time, you know something is wrong with you. And I
mm.
think the first step is the awareness, the symptoms. So would you mind to share with us what kind of key symptoms people really need to start making serious decision to seek out help for their burnout situation? Well, I hope we can connect it. All right, you're back. You are out a little bit. Okay.
Burnout. The problem is if they say there's something wrong with me, they might not be allowed to work anymore. And they're very embarrassed about it because they feel like they have to be able to fix themselves. So there's a lot of them like struggling in the dark, I think, at the moment. And they're trying to like probably suppress their everything with self-medication, alcohol, whatever other
Mhm.
addiction that helps them to forget that they have a problem. But actually the five main symptoms to recognize is that you're too tired in the morning to get out of bed, that you start hating your job,
Oh,
that you become really irritable and you start underperforming your job because you don't have enough energy to do a good job. You can't focus anymore. You start to get very irritable with yourself and your partner. That's why they end up getting divorced. Um, oy. I haven't practiced, I haven't thought about this for a while. So they feel like they're lost, like they don't know what am I supposed to do. I mean nothing. Yeah, and they lead a completely unbalanced life. And if they don't and they don't have enough time to finish all their jobs, feel terribly overwhelmed. So they end up losing their job often also.
Yeah, wow. It's a lot of price to pay, right?
Yes, so the price is
ruin your
huge.
relationship, you might lose your job, then you are, you don't really feel happy and you just don't want to get up. This is very, very severe.
Yeah, so it can lead to depression. It can lead, and once you're depressed, your immunity can go down, then you can get all these infections and you can get cancer. I mean, this is like, there's a high number of suicide in the burnout community. And I wish people would reach out for help a little bit more and earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I just want to scream it from the rooftops. I really think I can help a lot of people early, well, late also, because I've worked with a lot of divorcees to, change careers, find a new relationship, be happy again.
Yeah.
I can do that too, but it would be nice if people would reach out a bit earlier. So they don't have to destroy everything like I did. I lost everything because there was nobody there who diagnosed me properly. And I could have turned it around and I could have kept my career if they would just have seen it and treated me properly. So that's why I'm so keen to help other people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is so crucial. Like people need to realize the symptom and not necessarily give you diagnosis, but give you suggestion or advice how to make little change. Because a lot of things like marginal adjustment actually can really create a big impact, and you can just get away from that major setback and then still continue to have a normal life. I'm so glad for you share all the tips with us and all the good thing. And I know you bring in a very special and original recipe you enjoy to do at home. And I think it's called rump steak in red wine. And I wonder, like, is there any special reason you really like this dish?
Well, if you have if you have burnout or adrenal fatigue, a good quality protein is something you should eat every day. I'm not saying eat steak every day. There's also fish and other forms of good protein. But my kids really love it also, and I love it. So it's just very tasty. And because I was born in Belgium, steak frites is like one of the national meals. But the way I make it is not the way they make it usually. In Belgium, they often also use beer when they cook steak. But I don't know how I ended up using wine in there. I think, I didn't want my meat to become too dry. And I thought like, oh, let's throw a glass of wine in there. And the wine combined, the taste of the wine after the alcohol has evaporated, combined with all the spices I've put in before, makes a beautiful sauce. It's not boring. It's like medium spicy, and then combined with very good quality meat that is still juicy and soft if you cook it the way I do it. It's just delicious.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have the way to practice this recipe. Then lucky me and my family, we can taste it. Sorry, not sorry, you're not able to do it. But at least we will provide the recipe you're welcome to try at home. And thank you so much, Dr. V, for today's lovely and informative, life-changing journey sharing stories. And I think everybody can benefit from it. We just need to watch out our life. Life is too short, and we all have a dream and goal want to achieve, but really discover what we need to do first and fall in love with it and has a passion, have a reason behind, and to keep us going. But at the same time, make sure all the balance, our mindset, our body, connection with others, all in there. That's all important.
Yeah.
I think we have a way to contact Dr. V, and I think would you be okay? I can put your contact information or your website under the comments.
Yes.
Okay, so
burnout.com. Burnout-doc.com.
Okay, So I have different one. Definitely, I will make sure I get the right one
Yeah,
in there
I've
for
got
you.
two websites, so either or
Uh-huh.
is fine. And people can follow me on Facebook. I'm Dr. Vele van Tricht, Holistic Life Coach.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I mean, that's how this program, the cooking with gratitude awareness, to start with. I want to connect with a lot of people. They have the same mission to help others, and they have all different angle, but it's like holistic
It's a
angle. Not
community.
just say, okay, you want the supplements. You need the supplement, but how about other thing? You know, the supplement is necessary for something, but
Yeah,
the mindset, your energy, your
yeah,
body, and your lifestyle is only be
yeah,
work together. So I
yeah.
very appreciate Dr. B coming to today's program. And don't get away, because I'm going to cook the next thing. So stay tuned. Thank you, Dr. B. You have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye bye.